What's up, everybody? My name is Doug. Welcome to the channel. I just want to say thank you guys for all the support, all the likes, comments, and shares. I want interaction, and I want to increase the dialogue so that we can bring perspective and hopefully make this world a better place. Today, we are going to be getting into the topic that has taken over the news cycle, the Raychard Brooks shooting in Atlanta last week. According to NPR.org, and I will leave a link in the description below for this website that I am referencing throughout this video, as of 7 p.m. tonight, the officer, Garrett Rolfe, who shot Raychard Brooks, has been charged and is expected to turn himself in today or tomorrow for felony murder. And I know that it's got a lot of people upset, and it's kind of created a stir here. But I do want to remind everybody that if I'm going to be preaching this justice system will work itself out, if I'm going to be preaching everybody wait and see the evidence, everybody wait until they have their day in court, that everything will be proven and we got to trust our system. If I'm going to do that all the time, then I have to apply it to this as well. I'm not going to get bent out of shape. I'm not going to get upset about it. Being upset's not going to do anything, as we can see. That's what leads to the rioting and the looting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the facts. And I'm going to talk about what's happened so far, what the charges are, what the complaint says, what the statute says, see if we can make sense of this thing. All right, so this NPR article says that the white Atlanta police officer who shot a 27-year-old black man in the back last week in the parking lot of a fast food restaurant will face a charge of felony murder and 10 other charges, a Georgia County prosecutor announced on Wednesday. So felony murder plus 10 other charges. And this is how NPR puts it. The white Atlanta police officer who shot a 27-year-old black man in the back last week. That's what this was? NPR, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're race baiting. You're inflaming the situation. You should be ashamed of yourself. And I like NPR. I listen to things all the time on NPR. You should be ashamed of yourself that you let this go to copy. The white Atlanta police officer who shot a 27-year-old black man in the back last week. That's flagrant, if you ask me. Nonetheless, we're going to get into it. Paul Howard, who's the Fulton County District Attorney, said Garrett Rolfe, who fired the fatal shots at Raychard Brooks, could face possible sentence of life without parole or the death penalty. Rolfe, who has since been fired from the police department, was also charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and violations of office. The other officer, Devin Brosnan, who remains with the Atlanta Police Department, has been placed on administrative desk duty, is also facing charges. Among them is aggravated assault, which carries a possible sentence of 1 to 20 years in prison. Arrest warrants have been issued for both men. So, this is where we're at. If you haven't watched the video, go watch that video. My last video, I broke down in detail. It's an hour-long video where we break down a compilation of the body cam footage, security cam footage, and cell phone coverage of witnesses nearby. And we broke down every step and got into it in every detail. So if you want to go check that out, you can do that. You can go check out the video right here. Do that first before you get into this one so you kind of understand. So basically, I looked up what felony murder is in the 2010 Georgia Code. It's probably the same thing. They usually don't change much in these. This is going to be Title 16, Chapter 5, and Article 1. In Section A, it says, a person commits the offense of murder when he unlawfully and with malice aforethought, either express or implied, causes the death of another human being. Right off the bat, a person commits the offense of murder when he unlawfully and with malice aforethought. So, it has to be unlawful, and he has to have malice beforehand, whether expressed or implied, and then causes the death of a human. Well, right off the bat, it's not unlawful. We know it wasn't unlawful because Officer Rolfe responded to a scene. He was sent by the department. He had probable cause. He had reasonable suspicion, which developed probable cause, and from that probable cause, he went to place Raychard Brooks under arrest for committing a crime. And that's what Officer Rolfe is charged to do by the Atlanta Police Department. So he was doing his job. In the course of his job, Raychard Brooks resisted and then assaulted and eventually, with a deadly weapon, fired a taser at Officer Rolfe, who shot him twice in the back, while the man still had his taser, or the taser of another officer. It's not unlawful, and there was no malice. Raychard Brooks was a danger to the officers and to the public, and he still had a weapon, and he tried to use it on officers, and he struck officers. So not only did he take a weapon from officers, strike officers, and then fire the weapon at officers, thereby demonstrating that he would take this to any length. I mean, what other length is there? The only thing left to do was to take the officer's gun and shoot him. So the officer, from, in my guesstimate, 10 yards away, fired and killed Raychard Brooks. Keep in mind, police officers are not trained to kill. They're trained to stop. They shoot center mass, and it's to stop the threat. The threat was then stopped. So right there, you don't have an unlawful shooting. What happened after the shooting doesn't matter when it comes to a murder case. Those are extra charges, which is what I'm assuming those 10 extra charges are. Everything that happened after Raychard Brooks was shot. Because up until then, it doesn't matter. You can only judge that murder based on what happened up until the shot. It was a justified shoot, if you ask me, in my opinion, and that this was not an unlawful kill. Subsection B says, express malice is that deliberate intention unlawfully to take the life of another human being, which is manifested by external circumstances capable of proof. Malice shall be implied where no considerable provocation appears and when all the circumstances of the killing show an abandonment and a malignant heart. Okay, so right now, we don't have malice because malice should be implied malice is where there's no considerable provocation and where all the circumstances of the killing show an abandoned or a malignant heart. Well, we do have provocation. He fired a taser, which is a less than lethal weapon, not a non-lethal weapon. It's called less than lethal because it has a smaller chance of killing you than a gun, but has killed people. So right away, we don't have implied malice. All that's left is express malice, which is a deliberate intention to take the life of another human being, capable of proof. Really, the only room that's left there is if Officer Rolfe said, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. And then killed him. And then they had proof for it. So we don't have proof there. It says that a person also commits the offense of murder when in the commission of a felony causes the death of another human being, irrespective of malice. So that means without malice, you can still be charged with felony murder if in the commission of a felony you cause the death, which is exactly what Derek Chauvin was initially charged with. So they're going to go with this one. I think this is one they're going to try to make stick. So I'm pretty sure that subsection A and B, you're going to have to throw out the window. They're going to try to prove here that he caused the death during the commission of a felony. So they're really going to double down on getting him on some type of a felony charge, which will probably have to do with his office as a police officer, if you were to ask me. But it does say that it can be punishable by death, by life in prison without parole, or by life in prison. That's what this officer is facing. And that's sad. But don't get caught up in what you're hearing. Watch the video for yourself. Understand that you will not see everything on the video. There's always more to the story than the video. Because certain angles, you can't really see everything. Even though we have a lot of angles and we have a lot of video, this is probably the best documented case that we have. But there are still things that happen. And let's not forget, the shooting wasn't caught on all the cameras, and it wasn't a great angle. So we're just going to go off of the things that we saw. I don't have the facts of this case yet. I don't have all of them. We don't have all of them. No one does. We know what the charges and the complaints say, and we know what the video says. And we're going to try to do our best to put the pieces together. Here's where things kind of get fishy, get cloudy. And here's where people are upset, and here's probably where these charges come from. I'm going to read it from NPR's perspective, which is already annoying to me because of how they started off this particular article. But it said that Howard, the Fulton County District Attorney, said during a news briefing that Brooks never presented himself as a threat. He punched an officer, stole an officer's taser, and then fired it at a different officer. At the very beginning, he was peacefully sleeping in his car. Peacefully sleeping? You're going to add peacefully sleeping? That's flagrant. Now you can see what they're trying to do by twisting things here. That's what's annoying to me. If you're going to tell the facts, just tell the facts. The facts are great. The facts make a better case for you than when you do this kind of stuff to inflame. After he was awakened by the officer, he was cooperative and he was directed to move his car to another location, and he calmly moved his car. He did do that. I actually liked the guy. Now, when he first starts talking to the officer, he went with the sob story that officers hear all the time. And guess what? It could be true. And that's the part that sucks, is that people that police officers arrest are just people. They're people just like the police officers, man. And I don't care how long you've been a police officer. You can never fully get that out of your head. You know that this is just another person. And you know that under certain circumstances, this could be you. Had you made a couple other decisions, this would be you. The whole time I was a cop, I knew I was just a few decisions away from being one of the people that I was arresting. We all are, let's be honest. And so when Raychard Brooks gives the sob story, which is, this is what I'm going through, this is what my life is right now, I'm just trying to do this, kind of woe is me, you do feel it and you do hear what he has to say. But you got to be honest. You have a job. Your job is to affect the law. This man broke the law. And now it's your job to arrest him. You went from the reasonable suspicion to the probable cause, and now you're going to arrest him. You're doing your job. You woke up and put your uniform on and you're going to go do your job. So when he got the sob story, the officer heard it, but it did not affect the fact that he has to arrest this man. But then when Raychard Brooks wasn't ready to be arrested, he tries to be a nice guy. And I think he was a nice guy. I think most people that you deal with are nice guys. And a lot of times that nice guy thing makes things go smoothly. But you still have to arrest them. And Garrett Rolfe went to place Raychard Brooks under arrest. And that's when things went bad. Raychard Brooks, on his own, chose to fight those officers. He turned a situation that wouldn't have been deadly into a deadly situation based on his own actions. Brooks never displayed any aggressive behavior, he added. He also noted that for a period of more than 2 minutes after he was shot, there was no medical attention applied to Brooks. So here's where things get blurry, because I haven't seen any video of this. But the complaints are now saying that Rolfe kicked Brooks after he was shot while he was on the ground. In the filing charges, Howard said prosecutors relied in part on a statement made on the video by Rolfe. I got him. They're using the fact that Rolfe said, I got him. He did get him. If that was a inappropriate statement to make after you shot someone, maybe. But have you ever shot someone? You don't know what it's like to shoot somebody. If you've had to shoot somebody, your life is turned upside down as well. Even in a justified shoot, your life is still going to be turned upside down. It is not easy to shoot somebody. It's not easy to draw your weapon on somebody. A lot goes through your head. Police officers are notorious for saying things that are inappropriate. Why, do you ask? Because the stuff that they see and go through every single day. To stop their brains from breaking, they have dark senses of humor. They understand irony. And they make comments that a normal person wouldn't be able to make because they'd be gasping and they'd be surprised and afraid and outraged. And they'd be sad and heartbroken. But if you do that every single day, every day you're seeing someone who killed themselves or who was murdered or just died of old age and rotted in their apartment for 3 days. They've seen fathers kill their 1-year-old babies. Until you've gone to a scene where an uncle stabbed a baby with a 12-inch knife 6 times, but it appeared like it was 12 times because the knife went in and out both sides of the baby. And then you have to go to a case like this. You don't know what you would do, what you would say. So although I'm not defending this officer, because I don't know what happened, using, especially what this guy said, in filing charges, the prosecutors relied in part on a statement made by Rolfe in the video, "I got him." They're trying to use this as his forethought of his intention and his malice. But guess what? He did get him. He shot him and he was on the ground. As opposed to, "I missed him." So simply to apprise your beat partners, the people that show up on scene, or the people that are there on scene when it's still a hot scene, you're letting them know. Because guess what? If he missed him, he would say, "I missed him." But he said, "I got him." Now, I don't know what happened after this. I'm just saying that in and of itself is not enough. And the fact that the prosecutor said that he relied on this statement is shocking to me. Officials said Brosnan, who was that other officer, stood on Brooks' shoulder after he was shot, according to Howard. Brosnan has cooperated in the investigation. I don't know what that means, stood on his shoulder. It's hard to stand on somebody's shoulder. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if it means you put a foot on the shoulder. I can't really trust NPR now that they've said such egregious things. But let's just say what they're saying is true, that he put his foot on his shoulder. I don't know what that was about or why. I didn't see video of that. I didn't see evidence of that. They're making it sound like he put his foot on him, like he conquered some land and raised the flag in victory. So I don't know. I didn't see it. So here's the thing. I'm not sure why this is happening. A lot of people are asking me, "Doug, why is this happening? How is this possible? What kind of world are we living in?" I don't know, but I don't think we're losing any more control of our world. I don't think that's what this is. We're the same people we were 6 weeks ago. We're the same people before George Floyd. But we're a flawed people. There's problems in this world and we need solutions. And the criminal justice system, as flawed as it is amazing. And there's a good chance, a very solid chance, that if you haven't committed crimes, you won't get in trouble for them. The problem is your life is turned upside down in the process. And that's sad to see. This officer lost his job and he's going to be tried. I think that he'll be okay. I think that he's going to be found not guilty and he's going to sue the department and he's going to get a settlement. That's how police departments work. I think this is a reaction. What this comes down to is the police department and the city are reacting to the outrage by the protesters. The pressure that they have based on the few incidents that have happened even in Atlanta recently. They're responding to the outrage and they fired this officer so that the city wouldn't burn. The problem is they're jumping to conclusions and they're rushing this, just like the Derek Chauvin case. And even if this officer did something wrong, he's not going to get in trouble for it because of how they rushed to this. And then they're going to have to deal with the fact, and they're hoping that this is going to blow over. They're going to have to deal with the fact that they're going to fill everybody's expectations that this guy's going to go to jail. And when he gets let off, then the city's going to burn. They're just putting it off to a later date instead of dealing with it. And it's shameful that the mayor made those statements. And then the police chief had to resign. It's just crazy to me. The prosecutor, the very same prosecutor who charged officers just weeks ago for using a taser and claimed that it was deadly force, is the same prosecutor who is saying that the officer shouldn't have shot Brooks because the taser's not deadly force. That's pretty insane to me. It just goes to show you that everybody's rushing to conclusions and everybody's emotional right now. Now, I am saddened that Raychard Brooks was killed. I don't believe anyone deserves to die, no matter your color. You don't deserve to die. The only way that I think that death is justified is if it's saving another life. And I believe the officer thought that's what he was doing, which makes this an appropriate shoot and justified. So I don't know where we go from here, except for we stay tuned. And we watch how this plays out. They are cannibalizing themselves. There's so much pressure that they don't know what to do. But justice will prevail. I am confident of that. There will be due process, and the systems that we've set in place over hundreds of years that we've been perfecting and getting better, we can rely on those. It's sad the officer will go through this, but I think he will get out of this one. His life will be over as he knows it, though. That's what's so sad about this. I don't know if he has wife and kids, but it'll never be the same for him. He'll have to move. He won't be safe in Atlanta. That's the truth. It's interesting to me that this backup officer has turned state's witness and will testify against Rolfe. I wonder what that's about. And let me just say this for the record, that there may be details that we don't know. And so we have to be open to that, and we have to be honest about these things. If there are things that we don't know, we have to admit it. Things may come to light that change things. And when that happens, we'll address them. But until then, what I've seen and what I've heard, this is unjustified. Raychard Brooks assaulted officers and tried to use a taser on an officer, and an officer shot him. And that's department policy. That's proper use of force on the continuum. So as far as I'm concerned, these charges are going to be dropped. Now, they may find some other charges on him in an attempt to get him on felonies, which caused the death of Raychard Brooks, which would still be this murder case. But I don't think it's going to be successful. I do think that there are solutions. And so I'm going to make a video this week about the solutions that I think we can bring to the table, both as police officers and as civilians, that can help, that can make this world a better place, that can make the situation better, make better police officers, make more informed civilians, that we as a community can work together and spread love and spread joy and health and happiness and support a growing system instead of tearing down and fighting. We need more transparency, and we need more vulnerability. We need less distrust. It's not getting us anywhere. So I hope that you learned something from this. I hope that it was some kind of a perspective. I've learned a lot, and I'm going to continue to learn a lot. I want to encourage everybody to not get married to an idea. If you have an idea of what you think something is, don't marry yourself to it, because then you don't allow room to grow. Always be open. Always analyze, even the things that you believe. You should always question. And then we can all grow. We can all learn. We can all move forward. And so I hope that this will help some people do that, as it has helped me. So if you like this video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you can see when more videos are coming out. I'm going to keep doing this, and hopefully we can bridge that gap between the community and our law enforcement community. So I thank you guys for watching, and until the next time, aloha.